Hi there, in this video I'll be doing a breakdown of a scene I took from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and I'll be showing you everything that I created and recorded and designed. Everything actually was recorded from scratch and then designed as well from scratch. So if you want to see everything that I did from the explosion sounds as well as the weapon sounds and everything else, stick around because we're going to be going over that. All right, if you're new here, I have a gift for you. It's my Sound Designer Starter Pack. There's a sound pack that you can use royalty-free in your commercial projects or personal projects. So if you're interested in picking it up, I'll make sure to leave a link in the description below. All right, with that said, let's get into our project. All right, so here we are inside of Reaper, and the first thing I'd like to do is just play you kind of the original sound from the clip, so we have a reference point to go from, and then I'll play my redesign, and then we'll go in and break everything down. So if at any point you want to skip ahead, make sure to check the chapter markers below. I'll make sure to link up everything so that you can skip around to whatever you're interested in learning or seeing how I design. So with that said, here is the original game audio. All right, so that is the original game audio. Now let's have a listen to my redesign. All right, so there you have it. So why don't we start just right at the beginning, and we'll kind of go progressively into the design, into the clip here as we go. So right at the beginning, we had our bullet ricochet. So I'll just play through these, and then I'll kind of go over layer by layer how I made these. Actually, this is one of the few, if not the only recording. No, this and the ambiences, I didn't actually record from scratch. So some of these I actually use from a library. So let's have a look at what are the sounds that I use here. So I think I started off with these here. And this I had just found in one of my libraries. They're just bullet pass-bys. And I kind of just layered them so that they felt like it kind of matched what was going on with the scene here. Right, I just want it to feel kind of dangerous, like you're like bullets are flying by you. So that's what this was for. After that, it was a matter of there was one impact sound that I wanted to kind of hit, which was right here. You have kind of right there. You have like some shots hitting the rock here, and you have like this rock explosion sound. So for that, I had these two layers. So this one here, that's just like a bullet hitting a dirt, like a dirt impact, and then I had this other one here. So that's more like giving the body, and then here it kind of gives the texture. So together you get this. Right after that, I think I had another dirt one over here. Yeah, because I think there's like a second one over here. So I just want to have kind of the feel that you're hiding behind this kind of rock with dirt. So yeah, so that's what these are doing. After that, there was some other ones here, which are hidden like water, and you'll see it here on the left, more over here on the left-hand side. So the way that I made these, this is actually from my Magic sound pack, and I just had these water impact sounds, and then so I kind of brought this in here, and you kind of get these like higher pitch like water smacks. And with that, I was able to kind of put it where I wanted it to go. So you can see here as the project progresses here, I'm actually modulating the angle here so that it kind of moves with the camera, so that the water impacts start kind of on the left side, and then as the player turns to look, they're right in front of him. Right, so that's what's happening here. Of course, most of my sounds here, I'm really playing around with the EQ to get the perspective right, because if I take this off and you have just a listen here, this would right? It's just like way too bassy, way too in your face. And I want it to feel kind of distant and not so bassy. Because these are just like bullets hitting the water, so they would be more high pitched than like anything low pitch. So that's what I was doing over here. And you'll see I probably did, oh no, I don't have any for all these other ones. These are just kind of laid it down. Then I had one more over here. Yeah, just another water impact. Again, just to add some kind of detail sound to the stuff over here. And this is, again, the same thing. I probably had the exact same EQ and recenter settings on here. So that's what that is. So you have bullets whizzing by you. You have the impacts into the rocks, and then you also have the impacts in the water. So all together now we have this here. All right, let's move on here to the enemy weapons, so enemy gunshots. So this is actually a combination of two things. One is sounds from a library, which is what I have up here, and then I also have other sounds down here. And these are going to be sounds that I recorded, and they're just fireworks. And using fireworks actually sounded really good as kind of these distant weapon shots. So I'll play, let's start here with just these gunshots from the library, and then I'll play you the other ones, and we'll play together. Right, and you'll see here I have some EQ settings, and they're probably all the same or all similar here. And it's just a matter of like really cutting out some of the lows and the highs so they feel really distant. So if I take it off, it sounds like this. Right, it just sounds like they're right beside you. I didn't want that. I really want to feel far. And a trick for that is to really use a high shelf to really cut out some of the highs. And that will really help to give that sense of distance. And then here for the lows, it's just a matter of taste, cutting out some of the lows. All right, so that's what these sounds are here. So I just kind of put that there with the EQ setting. And then what also really helped was these shots, which are fireworks. Right, so these are all like just little fireworks that were popping. And I had recorded this near my house, and I was able to get like these really distant fireworks, and they just work great to get the sense of like really distant gunshots. So all together now we have this. Right, and you have this really a really nice sense of all these distant gunshots like that. So that's how I created these here. And again, here you'll see probably a similar thing in terms of EQ. Oh yeah, here, so just cutting out the lows. I think they already felt distant, so I didn't have to change much except for some light EQ for the fireworks here. And here I did some more, I guess a bit more aggressive EQ, just cutting out some of the mids here and popping out a little bit of around 1K, 1.5K. So if I play it without it, like it works, but I think when I was playing in the context of everything else, in the context of the mix, it wasn't really coming out, and I really didn't need those kind of lows, especially because the bullet flybys were more important. I didn't want this to kind of cover that, so that's why I put this on here, and then just popping it up at around 1.5K, that really helped to bring them out. Right, so that's all that is, and the gain here is just to balance it out with everything else. All right, so far now, if we play these together, this is what we got. All right, let's keep going here. These are just some like really light detail. Actually, these I probably could have get rid of them because you don't even hear it in the redesign. And I kind of made it that way on purpose because I didn't want it to distract from the bullet whiz-bys and everything else. And so this is the reload. Again, just really light Foley, like some metal sounds like you're putting bullets back in the gun. And then this one here, this is your actual weapon reload. And so let's have a look at how I created this. So this is the first layer here. So this is from if I'm not mistaken, my sound pack. Yeah, it's from my steampunk sound pack, and I just took some mechanical sounds. Right, sounds okay like that. I really wanted to make it feel a little bit larger and heavier. So I took out, I wanted to kind of clean up some of the high end. So that's what I'm doing with 2 here. Cleaning out some of those resonances, and then I'm pitching it down a little bit here. Right, so it feels a little bit weightier. And then here, it's just a kind of a body kit for the body of the sound. Right, and that's it. So pretty simple. It's not really a feature or anything like that. So I wanted to keep it kind of lower key, nothing that would really stand out on its own. All right, once I had that, then it was a matter of doing the rockets, the explosion sound. So there's kind of 2 parts to that. One is I had the whooshes for the explosion sounds, like right before they hit, and then I had obviously the explosion sounds here. So here I had 2. I kind of split them up into 2 different categories. One is the first 2 explosions that happen when the character is still hiding behind the rocks. So you still get that abstraction from the rock. So the explosions should still sound kind of distant and muffled, and not as clear as when he's peeking over the rock and actually looking at everything. So with these, I wanted them to feel a little bit bassier, a little bit darker. So let's have a listen here. Right, so these are explosion sounds that I'm currently creating in my explosion sound pack. It's not out yet, but it'll be coming out probably in the next couple of weeks or months, if it's not out already by the time I post this video. But yeah, so I basically dragged and dropped sounds that I had already designed in here, and then I just added some light EQ. Again, here, the same trick here, just putting a low shelf to make it feel a bit more distant. So without it sounds like this. Sounds okay, but again, you're not getting that feel of obstruction like you're behind a rock, but with it, it's just some light detail here. And now with these, I really wanted to make sure that I included kind of the whiz by of the rockets right as they were falling. And that's what these sounds here are. And all of these are basically just whooshes. So yeah, let's have a listen to these guys here. Right, so these are just whooshes that I designed. If you want to see a video about how to make these, they're pretty simple, but I'll make sure to keep a link up above. I think I made a video about it, so there should be something up there that I'm going to link up. And yeah, so this is, just grab some of these whooshes, put it in here, and make sure that they were kind of short so that they kind of felt like they were really whizzing by really quickly. And then I just layered them up, especially for this one here, the second one, just to make it feel a bit fuller and very different. So all of these are very different. So as you can see here, like I'm using different sounds sources. This one is the same here, this one and this one. But then I'm adding other layers to make sure that they are not the same, right? So I don't ever want it to sound the same and feel the same. So that's what I'm doing here for this section. And now with the explosions, this is what you have here. And again, here you'll notice I have some processing, and it's probably going to be some very similar thing here. Recenter is going to be to position them or to keep it really centered, because some of them were like really, really wide. So if I look at this one, here I just did the width. So if I take this off for this one, like it sounds like very, very wide in the stereo field, and it just doesn't make sense for this because it needs to be very, very direct in the stereo field. So that's what this is doing here. Right, and then after that, again, same kind of technique here. I'm either cutting out some of the lows or some of the highs based on the sound source, and then here just taking out some of the resonant frequencies. And I'm doing the same thing for all of these. All right, so let's move on now to the other explosion sounds. All right, so these explosions are for when he actually peaks over. So these I want to be a little bit brighter and have a different feel than the other ones. So let's have a listen to these here in context. All right, so let's go with this first one here. All right, so there's two things happening for this first explosion sound here. Is I have my regular explosion design sound here. Right here, I just dragged and dropped it in. There's no processing or anything. And then I wanted to have some sort of metal rattling or like it's hitting, it's not just the bridge, but it's also like the vehicle. So you want to have some sort of like shaking metallic sound or something like that. So I have this sound here that I found in my library. Right, so it's just like this door container rattling sound, and that worked perfect together here. So that it feels like you're hitting this metallic thing and it's kind of breaking. All right, so with that, let's go to our next sound here. Right, so this sound is, I had a similar idea here where basically I have my explosion sound and then I wanted to have a different texture. So instead of having, again, like a rattling sound, I want to have more like glass shattering or breaking from the vehicle again. So that's what I did here. And this is just a bottle smash that I had. And as you can see here, one of the kind of techniques, if you will, that I used, and I did the same thing up here for this first explosion, is for the textured sound, so for the metal rattle and here for the glass smash, I cut out, or I did a fade in because I really want the impact and the explosion sound, especially the transient, to really pop through, like it, so that it feels a lot more dangerous and explosive. And after that, I have the texture kind of coming in. So that's what I'm doing here. All right, and then for this glass sound here, just some light processing. So if we look here, without anything, sounds like this. All right, very bright, like really close to you. Again, same kind of idea here. Putting a high shelf to make it feel distant. And then manipulator here, this is just the pitch shifter I like to use, and I just brought it the format down so it's a bit lower. All right, let's go to our next one here. So again, for my explosion pack, and this one actually was a wooden explosion sound. So I actually had some wood samples in here that I layered together and some like explosion tails and explosion sounds. So when I put it all together and designed it, it sounded like this. So that one was nice because I could kind of just put it in and it kind of matched what I had going on here. Especially with the bridge, because this explosion is where the bridge started to like really break. Right, after that we have here. And this is just like a regular explosion sound like the other one. Right, and with that, now we had our other whoosh sounds here that I wanted to have. So there's a few things here that are different. Most of these are like what you would expect here. So I just have some like whooshes like that. I got some other one here. And another one here. Right, so they're all kind of similar here. They kind of have the similar sound. Again, same technique here. Make sure to use different samples so they're all different. And then this one here is cool. If you want to see how I made this, I actually made a whole video about like creating these like meteor showers sounds. So I'll make sure to link it above in the cards. But this is a sound that really helped to kind of have the whooshes and just add different sound and texture to it. Right, so it's definitely a heavier like whooshing sound, and you still have these other like whooshes and things flying by. So with that and all of these together now, right? So if I didn't have that, you get only the whooshes. Sounds like this. And it's okay. It sounds fine, but you're really missing kind of this other texture, other sound, and this kind of like the danger. I guess this adds kind of a danger element because it's just a lot lower. So yeah, I found like this was like a really key layer in this design here. So now all together with the explosions here, let's have a listen. All right, let's go on to some other detailed sounds here that I had. These are, so this is kind of some additional wood and metallic sounds that I wanted to add for the bridge, especially when it was breaking here. So this I found from one of my library. I think it's just a metallic kind of shake sound, metal drop sound. So I probably dropped some stuff on the ground and I recorded it, and that's what I got here. Here I have a wood impact sound from my melee weapons pack. So that's what is here, and then I just brought it down. So this is just straight up wood. It's just pitched down, so it has a weightier sound to it. And again, more wood sound here. And here I got some more here. And this is a metal hit. And then last one here. Right, so these you probably don't really hear in the actual design. They're just kind of to add a bit more detail, a bit more weight to the sound, a bit more texture, like so you get the feel of the metal and the wood breaking. So without it, in the actual context of the design, it might sound like this. Right, it's okay, but with it, right, it's more of it's something that sits more underneath all the layers. It's kind of a supporting thing. You kind of had these wood textures like creaking and breaking, and then this same thing with the metal sounds. So it's not something that's a forefront. It's more like a background element. All right, after that, we have our water impact when everything kind of crashes down into the river here. So let's have a listen to this. And all of this was created using my Magic sound effect pack #2. And I just had a bunch of different like water crashes, water whooshes, and water impact sounds. So I layered, I think, 2 or 3 of these in here to create these. So let's go over how I made this. So let's start with this one first here. Right, so this is more like your bassy layer, right? Just cutting out some of the highs because you don't want it to feel too close. Next, you got this one. Right, it's more like a wave crashing, especially for all the water that's like falling back down. That's what that was for. And then you got this one here. Right, and that is the main like impact, the main fall, the main water explosion sound. Right, and as you can see here, I didn't do any processing for these except for this one where I had a bit of EQ. And then all together on the group, again, here I had a bit of EQ to cut out some of the highs so it felt a bit more distant, and then just bringing in the width so that it's right in front of the player rather than super wide. So if I take it off, you'll see it sounds kind of wide. Right, it really doesn't make sense because it's like further into the distance and it's right in front of the player. So managing the width this way, I'm able to focus it exactly where I want it on the screen. Right, so that's the impact sound. After that here, I have a few more miscellaneous items here. So I have some more glass shattering sound. Just to add more detail here to the trucks exploding. And then this is some more like destruction rumbling sound. I found this in my library. It's like a rumble elevator shaft glass breaking and falling down kind of stuff. So I thought that worked well as a layer. Right, I don't think you hear it as the main thing, but it fills out kind of the depth and the distance of the sound. So again, it's not a in your face kind of layer. It's more of a minor kind of detail thing. Right, and after that is just a matter of having some ambiences here. So I had 2 ambiences. One is for like the wind and the air because you're kind of in this like valley, and then the other one is to have this like little river flowing. So together it sounds like this. Right, it's very, very light. And you can see here, I actually don't even have it for most of the redesign because I don't want this to be masking or taking up space in the sound design just because it's not something that's important. So you just don't need it in there. So I just didn't include it. Here, I did include it a little bit because what I decided to do here is I had kind of this area of silence. So I wanted to make sure that it was filled with something. So this is like between explosion sounds. So let's play context. Right, so again, it's very, very light. It's like It's just to kind of fill up some space so that you don't have dead space. Like even though it's like quiet, you still have a sense or a feel like you're in this environment. It's very, very light and it's very subtle, right? But with that, that is everything for this design. That's all the layers, everything I used. So let's play it one more time here. And here we go. All right, I hope you found that useful and valuable. If you like this video, I think there's another one that you're going to enjoy, which is how to create explosion blast sound effects. So I'll make sure to put it in the cards above, but it basically walks you through my step-by-step process for how I create these. And basically it's exactly what I did to create all of the sounds in this redesign in this video. So if you're interested in seeing that, make sure to click in the cards above. And just a reminder about my starter pack, link will be in the description. If you have any questions, comments, anything, of course, I always do my best to answer them, so please leave them down below. And I think that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching all the way through to the end, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.